Hi, this is Spencer Mackey, and I'm excited to show you how I painted Zuma Number 2. Here you can see I'm laying in a sky wash, keeping the bead wet so I don't get a line there. And it's just a bright sunny blue day, and it's okay if the blue overlaps a little bit into the far hills. Now I'm putting in a base color for the beach and some of the rocks in the hills that are visible in the distance, and some tree forms putting in now with kind of an olive green mixed color. You can see I'm using a big fat brush that's kind of a Japanese quill brush style. Izabi is the brand of brush, but it really holds a lot of paint and has a pretty reasonable tip. So you can paint some smaller shapes, but you don't have to keep going back to the palette. Now I'm modifying some of the rocky areas with different tones of earth tones and oranges, and painting out to Point Doom there to model that. Here I'm using a Winsor Series 7 sable brush. I think it's probably about a number 12. Now the beach in the distance drops off right after the lifeguard station there, so I put in a cool wash, and now in the foreground I'm putting in a warmer wash to help differentiate that. Just as a general rule, cooler colors recede and warmer colors come forward. You can see I'm using a bridge there to support my hand, and then you can use the edge of the bridge to paint straight lines as I'm starting to put some of the detail into the lifeguard station. Some of the posts and struts and so on. Later I'll go back and you'll see that I'll add some more shadow detail, but right now I'm just blocking in the color of the lifeguard station so I have something to use as a reference as I paint around it. It's a little float that's hanging off the front and the railing. You can see how the bridge really helps. In fact, I switched to a different bridge that was a little higher off the paper, so to make sure that the steel ferrule of the brush could run along the edge. Putting some darker value in the windows. Now I'm coming in, as I said before, to start to add some shadow detail. Ultimately, a lot of these things are built up in wash layers. I've got the lifeguard truck over on the right hand side started, and putting in the rack and the surfboard on top, painting the tire areas. You can see that the black kind of holds together or the dark's not really black, but holds together the shape underneath and ties in with the shadow. It anchors that truck to the beach. Putting in a little detail back on the road, some of the palm trees up on the top of the hill right now. Value is really one of the things that brings the painting to life, making sure the things in the distance are not as dark as the things in the foreground, and also a little bluer as they recede, because there's more and more sky reflecting into it. Got the number on the lifeguard station, number 2, painting again, bring in the darks, and you can see I have photo reference on the right hand side of that lifeguard station. That's kind of helpful to add realism. I've got a drawing on tissue that I can bring down to help locate things. I've kind of pre-drawn where I want things on the tissue. Put the traffic cones there on the beach. And people in the distance, little texture on the sand. Flagpole with the American flag. Adding a few little highlights with white tempera on the cones and on the truck. Then I decided I needed to add a little more value on the distant point, so I'm going in there with a chisel brush. Chisel brushes are good for painting architectural things too, because they're essentially square-ended. Oh, I've signed the painting, pulling up the tape, and it's done.